Hello, my divine fearless leaders, my divine warriors. Guys, I had such an issue today trying to hook up my mic, so I'm gonna roll with it. I don't have it, so hopefully my voice sounds good and you guys aren't hearing too much background noise, because I got my little one here, she's crazy a little bit. So we're just gonna go ahead and get started. So the question that I had was about boundaries, guys. And not gonna lie, I know that there will be people that are going to think you're ridiculous. I'm not going to lie. I used to be one of those people. I grew up in a semi-traditional Americanized Mexican family. I remember back in the day, way back in the day when people were talking, boundaries. I'd be like, boundaries. Like, that's crazy, especially to, Mexicans. It's like, well, I don't want to speak for everybody, so let me refrain that. But for me and some of my family, it was like, boundaries? Like, what's boundaries? Like, that just sounded ridiculous. But as I slowly started to wake up to what this road truly is, and I started to realize that boundaries was way more important than everyone was giving it credit for. Like, it's definitely an important thing that people need to use. Now, one of the things I want to talk about with boundaries and what goes hand in hand with boundaries is your intuition and your discernment. And what I have found is that the more that you work on yourself and the more that you listen to your intuition and your discernment, which is that gut feeling, that thing that's telling you not to do it, not to go there, not to talk to this person, not to, the more you listen to it, the stronger it gets. And it'll get to the point where you have to listen. Like, you have no choice. It's just, you have no choice but to listen to what your intuition is telling you to. Now, that's when you're on the journey. I will tell you that there have been times when I wasn't on the journey. Now, this is me looking back at my life before I even started any type of healing journey or even like intentional trying to change or anything about myself. When I look back at those times, there were times where I was being called to do something or show up somewhere, and I would do it. Especially when it came to helping people, because I've always been that type of person. I've always been there, a supportive person to everybody that I'm around, really. And it wasn't until I never had, though, I've had a nudge to stay away from people back then, but not as hard as I have the nudges now. Now it's like a complete, just a stomach twister, things falling to the floor, like really putting a hard stop on what either I'm about to do, starting to do, or the people that I'm around. Like, it's a really hard stop. So you're not going to be able to overlook the things that you're seeing. You're going to be able to see the signs. So it isn't like your boundaries are like, you're going to be okay with it. When you're on this type of journey, you're going to be okay with putting up these boundaries. I would start off small. Like, I remember when I started just like the ones that I gradually went around. There was people that to this day I love and adore, but those are the people that we don't meet up once in a long while. And at this point, that relationship stays the same. But there were people that I had around me that I would see once in a while. And I mean, once in a while, like once every 2 weeks, once every week or something like that. Those are the people that you need to start with. And, you'll measure their mannerisms. You'll measure the way they look or how they act, or, if you're doing good, what are they reacting like? Are they happy for you? Or are they not? Those are all the signs you need to get away from that person, especially when you're on this type of journey. At all costs, I would say, try to keep this type of journey to yourself. Don't really, share it with anyone. Eventually you will, because it's going to be very noticeable in the way you act and the way you think and, the decisions that you're making when you're with these people. So they're going to have no choice but to see that, wow, wait a minute, she's changing. Why is she different? Why is she, answering this way or being that way or whatever? It's just going to be within you. You're just going to be changing. And, as I said, in my other video, some people are going to like it and some people are not. They're not going to like that. Now, as far as like, once you start getting into your immediate family, I think you're pretty much going to know once you start setting boundaries you're going to have in your mind already who in your immediate family really needs to go. Like, they don't need to really be around you that much, because honestly, some people think, an old dog can't learn new tricks, and we know that's a lie. Okay. We know that's a lie. As long as you can breathe, you can change. Okay. But at this point on our journey, we're not worrying about nobody else. We're going to worry about ourselves, and we're going to let them do what they do. And we're going to work around that. And sometimes working around that means putting up boundaries or pushing them away completely, or limiting the time that you're around them. Okay. And that's not because you're trying to discriminate against them or how they are, what they want to be. You're just saying, I don't really want that negativity around me. Energy matters. It matters a lot, and it matters of those people around you. And not even just that, the fact that if they're like that with you, they're like that with everybody. So their energy is like, it's not good energy. So why do you want it around you? Why do you want it to corrupt with you, what type of journey and what you got going on? You don't want that. So you'll put up those boundaries. And then there's other people who are just, normal people who, occasionally might do or say something. They're just not up to the fact that certain things that people actually do are not okay. Gossip is one of them. Talking about people behind their back is one of them. And sometimes people just do it out of acceptance or something like that. And I would honestly say I never was the type to really gossip about anyone. And if I ever said anything behind anyone's back, it's because I said it to their face already, and they know that. I was never the type to hold anything back. I would always say what I had to say, and that was it. And if I ever but I was also the type where if I had certain discussions about certain people and I didn't find that to be true, I would say that doesn't sound like her at all. And I would have a talk with them like, well, they always knew that if there was something around me or talk or anything, I would talk about it, to that other person or anything. Now, as far as like personal things people would share with me, I would never share that. I wouldn't even share that if somebody talked about me to this day. I wouldn't share their personal. I don't like to really do that. I won't do it unless it's absolutely necessary. So for the most part, I try to keep that to myself. And and I won't judge them for it. I'll just kind of keep my distance from it, because on this type of journey, you want your energy to be pure and clean, and you want it to be good. It's not that you're trying to judge people or discriminate or any of that. You're not. You're just like, I'm on my path. This is my path, and you're on yours. And I don't want to tell you how to be so you can be in my life, because at the end of the day, those people have to accept that on their own. You can't force people to be a certain way just because you want them in your life. And also, there's things we know that this journey gets deep. It's not just about transforming your life. It's about you transforming into who you always really were. This is who you were. And then also to that it's about you making sure that you're honoring your commitment. And honoring your commitment means that, you're being pulled away and guided in a way so that nothing is really messing with your path. And anything that is because it's divinely orchestrated. It's there to help you to learn and to grow. And more than likely, you will find that it's linked to something that you wanted to change in the first place, that you had to change, and you learn from it. So essentially, the divine is reparenting you. That's what it's doing. It's reparenting you. And so the more that you get into your journey, the more you're going to realize that certain people are not supposed to be in your journey, and you have to let them go, and or limit that time with them. And then also, you will find, like for me on my grateful list, I used to have people on my grateful list that were literally backstabbing me. They were backstabbing me in my back. And so you're going to find things like that too. And it's not for you to react or act funny. It's just for you to say, you know what? It is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. Those people are going to change if they want to. And at the end of the day, God is He's going to put honor on your name. And that's the bottom line. It's going to be that way. So I hope that answered your question. I hope this video sounds good. And I'll talk to you guys soon.